Hello, hello, and welcome to my thought on this interesting Thursday. Um, I've been thinking a lot. We think we're so wise, and very often uh, I talk to a young man who is maybe 18, and I'm 86, and listen to his thinking so that I can get a better view of the world we live in. He's extremely left. I love, he said he's a vegan because he wants to save the planet and it's better for the planet. And he says that everything is good if it makes somebody happy. So any decision that we make, if it makes us happy, that's the right decision. And I was thinking, he of course doesn't think of himself as a child, but I think of him as a very wise young man. I was thinking about the wisdom that we get from children. Now, I looked some of these up, and some of them I remember, so I'm going to be reading some of them to you, but they're absolutely beautiful. The one is where the mother asked her child, she said, are you having a good day? And he said, I'm going to make it a good day. And I think it's something we forget, isn't it? That we're the ones that make it a good day. We're the ones that make ourselves happy. That was one of the hardest things for me to learn. I always blamed my mother, my sister, Toledo, my husband, my teachers, society. And then one day I was 50, so I wasn't a child. This was a 3-year-old child that said, I'm going to make it a good day. So when I was 50, oh no, I was older. I was 70. And I read James Hollis's book, How to Make the Most of the Last Half of Your Life. And all of a sudden I realized, if I'm not happy, it's the way I'm looking at it. It's the half, the half full or half empty glass, but it's true, and it works. So the other one I absolutely love is a question. There's a question. This mother was asking this question. The little boy, she was walking down the street with her little boy, and there was a man that was sitting and he was weeping. And the little boy ran and sat next to him and didn't say a word, just sat next to him. And she said, and then he got up and left. And then she said, the man got up and left. And the mother said to the little boy, what were you doing? Because he didn't say anything. He just sat next to him. He said, I was helping him cry. And I think we forget that too. As soon as somebody's sad, we immediately try to make them not sad. Sometimes it doesn't hurt to be sad. And this little boy said, I'm helping him cry. I wish more of us would help each other cry. And especially during this time when we have to admit that some things are very, very sad. Very sad. Um, and then this wonderful thing where this child asked her mother, how are we supposed to meet new people if we can't talk to strangers? And my mother always said, don't talk to strangers. She used to say that before I left the house. Don't talk to strangers. And of course, Lynn Ruth, I talk to strangers all the time. And I met new people. So that's a beautiful thing too, because again, with this pandemic, it's pushing us away from people, and I think that people are the most important elements of your life. And I'm always reminded of my little smart remark, which I read that touch, human touch, is that's a human right, touch. I said, you tell that to the UPS man, but maybe he needs to be touched also. You can try it. You can try it. Let me see what this is. Oh, and well, of course, this one little boy that said to his mother, "Yeah, I'm scared, but sometimes being scared is worth it," and that's true because that also applies so much to this virus. Um, a good, healthy a case of fright is not a bad thing because it'll help us protect each other. But I'm reminded about when I was in the hospital, and Americans especially always want painkillers. Just one painkiller after another. And I had a doctor, I still remember his name, and this was 19, This was what would have been 1960, 69, somewhere in there. And his name was Dr. Alving, and he said, pain tells you something. Don't take pain pills unless you're hysterical, because pain tells you something. Well, being scared sometimes is a smart thing. Not being terrified, but just being scared. And then this one little girl said to her mother, "You're a kid until your parents die." And I remember one time my father getting very angry at me and saying, "Will I ever be done with you?" And I said, "Not until you die." And when I was 52, he did. He did. And he was done, and the world had to take over, which isn't a bad thing. Um, oh, and then I read this saying that said sometimes you need to talk to a 2-year-old to understand what life is about. And that actually brings tears to my eyes. You need to talk to a 2-year-old to understand what life is about. And then let's see, what else do we have here? Well, yes, this mother asked her little boy how she looked in a new outfit, and he said, "It isn't how you look; it's how it makes you feel." And that reminds me of when I went to Oxford, and the scout at Oxford told me, I was 50, and she said I was 52, and she said, "You dress like an old lady," and I said, "Well, I am." She said, "No, you're not," and she took me to the shops, and she got me all dressed in a fuchsia skirt and a beautiful a print blouse that matched, and she redid my hair, which I always wore in a bun. I always wore a bun. And when I would wear it, I looked absolutely beautiful. And so when I got back to Pacifica, I went to a tea dance with my friend Mary, who was a very tall and beautiful young lady. And I put on my Oxford outfit, and I felt absolutely gorgeous. And when I went there, nobody asked me to dance, and it was an open dance thing. Nobody asked me to dance, but I felt very beautiful. So I went up to this young man, and I said, "Would you like to dance?" And he said no. So that taught me um, about feeling beautiful. But but I think that it works in other ways. When I was in Russia, there was this woman that was wearing this absolutely beautiful dress. Oh, I just loved it. And I said, "Oh, that is just beautiful." And she took it off and gave it to me. And when I looked at the label, it was from H&M. So she could have stayed clothed, and I could have come back to Britain, and I could have, well, I was in Toledo, I was in Pacifica then, and bought it. But there are a couple more I want to tell you about before I end with my funny one. Uh, let's see what this one is. This is, oh, this little girl said to her mother, "I love the wind because it makes everything dance." And I'm reminded of Dorothy Aldous. And if you don't know Dorothy Aldous' poetry and you have children, you get online and you look it up. Dorothy Aldous, Aldis. She says, "If I had a spoon as tall as the sky, I'd dish out the clouds that go slip sliding by. I'd stir them and store them and put them to cook to see if they tasted as good as they look." That's beautiful. But as I say, children they come up with wonderfully wise things. I'm always reminded of the Art Linkletter story about the quiz show where he said to this little boy, "What's the noisiest fruit? Um, the noisiest vegetable? What's the noisiest vegetable?" Meaning celery. And the kid said beans. I always love that. But my favorite true story is, and I've told it I think before, but it's worth repeating. When I was 40, I decided I wanted to get physically fit. It's about time. And I rode a bicycle around the trailer park because I am trailer trash. I was living in a trailer park at that time. And I was riding a bicycle. And I had, because we're Jewish and secular Jews, I did not know that Easter was a religious holiday. I had no idea that it was a religious holiday. I thought it had to do with wearing a hat, a very colorful hat, and with Easter eggs, hiding Easter eggs. I had no idea the significance of it. Of course, it's a profoundly deep and moving holiday, but I didn't know that. And it was right before Easter, and I was riding my bicycle with the children in the park because, of course, no adults were going to ride with me. So I was riding the bicycle, and there was a little girl named Robin, and I don't think she was 5 years old. I think just. She was absolutely adorable, and she would ride with me on her little bike while I was riding on my bigger bike. No gears, no gears, people. I was riding a bike with no gears. Um, and I said to her, I don't really understand Easter. I said, I know that Jesus died on Friday, but when did he come back? And Robin said, I'm not sure, but I think it was Halloween. And I'm going to leave you on that note and tell you thank you for joining me for my thought on this Thursday.